Good evening. Call the meeting to order. Everyone please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Cedar Grove Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be advertised by having the date, time, and place thereof posted on bulletin boards in the district, published and/or transmitted to the Verona Cedar Grove Times and Star Ledger newspapers, filed with the township clerk, and posted on the district's website. May I have roll call, please?
Mrs. Burke?
Here.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Here.
Mr. Mandela?
Here.
Mrs. Dye?
Here.
And Mr. Sakala?
Here. At this time, I will open the meeting to the public for comments for items that are on the agenda. Seeing none, close that portion of the meeting. Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
Do we have any committee reports tonight?
Everything I was supposed to go to was canceled due to the weather, so.
Except
you.
Finance Committee met
Yes, we did.
twice. We've had 2 meetings since our last board meeting going over the preliminary numbers, so there's really not much to report at this point.
Not yet.
So just that those meetings are happening. The only thing that's, special services typically run about 14% of an annual budget. It's looking like it's gonna be about 20% this year. So we're seeing an increase there. So that's something that we're planning for.
And we have our budget meetings coming up when? In March?
We're talking April.
April?
For the presentations, yeah.
Presentations.
We have to have the total number into the state by the 10th?
March 10th.
March
Right,
10th.
March 10th. So we need to hear on state aid and
Right, the 26th,
extraordinary
the
aid.
numbers come out.
We should hear by the end of, like, the first week of March, so then we'll be able to solidify everything.
Thank you. Okay, then I guess we can move on the agenda. I see we have no board presentations this evening. So from the Office of the Business Administrator and Board Secretary under minutes, may I have a motion for B1 through B4? And B1 is a motion to approve the public and executive minutes of February 9th, 2015. B2 is a motion to approve the budgetary transfers for the month of February 2015. B3 is a motion to approve the treasurer's report for the month of January 2015. And B4 is a motion to approve the board secretary certification to the Board of Ed pursuant to the Administrative Code that no line item has encumbrances and expenditures which in total exceed the line item appropriation in violation of the code. May I have a motion for those items, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes. Under bills, may I have a motion for B5, which is a motion to pay the list of bills that were provided to us in our packet for February 24th, 2015.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes. Under business, may I have a motion for items B6 through B15? B6 is a motion to approve the payment of the $13,664.09 to the New Jersey Department of Labor Workforce Development for unemployment liability. B7 is a motion to rescind motion B12 from February 3rd, 2015, approving Mr. William Xavier to use the Cedar Grove High School cafeteria on January 31st, 2015. B7 is a motion to retroactively approve Mr. William Xavier to use the Cedar Grove High School cafeteria on February 15th, 2015. B9 is a motion to retroactively approve the Cedar Grove High School All-School Council and Black and Gold Club to work in cooperation for the annual Valentine's Day flower sale. B10 is a motion to approve Robert Donahue, the district architect's proposal for architectural details and specifications for the upgrades to the Cedar Grove High School Gymnasium, which are listed in that item. B11 is a motion to approve the submission to the State Department of Education, under that project number therein, to upgrade the existing high school gymnasium bleachers, installation of a room partition, installation of 2 electronic backstop backboards, and installation of new wall pads. This is in the high school gymnasium. B12 is a motion to approve the Board of Education committees for the time period of January 6, 2015 through January 4th, 2016, as listed in that item. B13 is a motion to approve the 2015-2016 school rate of $7,000 for the integrated preschool program housed at the North End School. B14 is a motion to accept the donation of $744.20 from the Lacrosse Booster Club. And B15 is a motion to approve the 2015 Memorial Middle School summer program tuition rates as listed in that item. May I have a motion for those items, please?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on any of the items we just called?
Just to clarify on B11, that's just to submit the project. The project for the high school gymnasium has not, we're not approving the project. We're looking at just finding out what it's involved with it.
That's correct, right? That's just, we have to get a,
We need a project right now.
Right, we need a
from the state.
project too.
and then do we want to just, you want to mention about the gym, the plans are and why we're looking at doing this at this point?
Sure. You want me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, we have concerns about the safety of the bleachers in the gymnasium at the high school. And so we had some folks come in and give us an estimate on refurbishing them. And the costs for doing that were quite high, almost $100,000. So you reflect on throwing good money after bad, and then you bring in the architect and he says, well, working in conjunction with vendors, they say, well, for this number, we can give you new bleachers that are electronic and look at the padding on the walls and maybe some the backboards, the basketball hoops. Maybe we can make those motorized. We can replace the aging door partition while it's inspected every year. I see some phys ed teacher from the high school nodding. There's concerns about that door's safety, and so we looked at removing that door and putting a new curtain down. I know Ms. Lasky, we had to compromise on that. I know she wanted the old door replaced, but we're evolving, right, Andrea? We're moving on from that. And so collectively, the project is pretty impressive. So we thought, let's not just throw good money after bad and refurbish, let's redo.
Thank you. And we'll be discussing more of that in the future.
Absolutely.
Correct. Okay. Any other discussion? May I have roll call, please?
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes. From the Office of the Superintendent of Schools, we have the Superintendent's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Sakala. All right. So, welcome teachers and ed specialists et al. So what's going on next week in public education? Anything going on? What's that? What? Park? Well, in addition to the lengthy superintendent's report that's compiled, as always, with input from our principals, please take a look at that. It'll be posted on our website for you to review. It talks all about the good things going on in our schools, the teaching, the learning, and certainly the assessment. So what I thought I'd do is make reference to that, but then read a couple of pieces of literature here to show support for the Park test, and then sprinkle a little politics that is sort of inextricably linked to this new assessment. What I'd first like to do is read an open letter written by our Commissioner of Education, Dave Hespy. It's not a long letter, but I thought it might sort of shed some light on where it is we're going. If you're a parent like me, now again, this is written by David Hespy, you value a quality education as the path toward helping your children fulfill their potential. Education makes dreams happen, but the lack of knowledge and skills can just as easily lead to closed doors and unfulfilled dreams. Look to any college or university, and they will tell these stories. I served as president of a county college before becoming state education commissioner last year. I saw firsthand how over half of our students arrived without the skills needed for college and the workforce, and way too many dropped out, leaving their dreams at the door. Parents had to pay for remedial courses to teach their children what they should have learned in middle and high school. That's why New Jersey embarked on a bold path to improve instruction and educational outcomes. After 5 years of curriculum and instructional improvement, it is time to measure our progress, and we're ready to do that through a computer-based assessment called PARC. Measurement is a natural part of life. It shows growth or the need to focus on improvement. Whenever there are changes to a statewide assessment program, parents will understandably have questions and concerns. We all do. I can't dispel all the myths about PARC in one message, but I want parents to understand why we are administering a new test and how it can improve instruction in our schools. Consider the following. Under the caption, PARC testing is designed to improve education. The major complaint of our previous paper and pencil test, the NJ Ask, is that it didn't really provide information that could improve classroom instruction. Parents and educators learned their children's proficiency score in math and English, and that's about it. If schools wanted to find out where a child was struggling, they had to do more testing. We can all relate to that as well. For the first time in decades of statewide assessments, New Jersey will have an assessment through PARC that is designed to provide meaningful feedback to schools and parents. Under the caption, More Advanced Approach. Previous generations of students grew up on tests that relied heavily on rote memorization, multiple choice guesses, and filling in bubbles. PARC questions are designed to measure critical thinking, problem solving, and higher order analytical skills, and the questions ask students to use evidence to support an answer. These are the same skills that students will need throughout their schooling and beyond. PARC might be more sophisticated than previous generations of assessments, for sure, but rest assured the questions are age appropriate. In fact, each PARC question was reviewed by no less than 30 educators and content specialists. We're almost done. Under the caption, Student Data is well protected, another concern we hear a lot about. Student data has always been protected, and nothing will change. Privacy of all student information is protected by federal and state law. Student identifiable information has not and will not be shared with the federal government, nor sold by PARC or anyone else. Lastly, schools are prepared. The transition to a new assessment isn't a surprise to New Jersey educators. When the New Jersey State Board of Ed adopted the College and Career Readiness Common Core state standards in 2010, we subsequently joined PARC as a way to measure those higher level skills. The department has worked with districts as they improve technology and provided guidance and training to teachers and students. A full 98% of New Jersey schools report they are technologically prepared to give the PARC exam. The same technology that is used for testing should and certainly is here in this district throughout the classroom throughout the year. Mr. Hespy urges all parents to encourage our students to do their best on this and every other test they face in life, because when we improve the education we offer to our children, we help them fulfill their dreams. And I echo those sentiments. Now on to the political caption. Bless you. You may have been following, like many of us, the New Jersey Assembly and their interest in the passage of a bill, A4190. The bill passed the Assembly yesterday, and let me read to you what it does for us as educators. This bill stipulates that for the 2015-16, 2016-17, and 2017-18 school years, the PARC assessments developed by the consortium of states may not be used to determine a student's placement in a gifted and talented program, another program or intervention, grade promotion, the state graduation proficiency test, and importantly for teachers, any other school or district level decision that affects students or as part of any evaluation rubric submitted to the Commissioner of Education for approval. So What does that mean? Well, it means take the PARCC test. Encourage your children to come to school and take this new assessment. It's the future. It's here. It's now. Okay, our politicians have helped sort of take away the trappings of it contributing to teacher evaluation and for student placement in a variety of programs. And so at this point, I applaud this measure. And I think you do as well. So good luck. I look forward to working side by side with you every day, certainly next week, March 2nd. Let's get it done. We are Cedar Grove.
Thank you, Mr. Featherman. Moving on the agenda, under Personnel, may I have a motion for S1 through S9? S1 is a motion to approve Mr. Featherman's report. S2 is a motion to approve the retirement of Evelyn Obendorf, North End and South End music teacher, effective June 30th, 2015. S3 is a motion to appoint the staff as listed. S4 is a motion to approve Colleen Bulger as girls' assistant track coach for the 2014-2015 school year. S5 is a motion to approve Sean Sweeney as the girls' lacrosse club advisor for the 2014-2015 school year. S6 is a motion to approve Sean Sweeney as teacher for detention duty at the high school for the 2014-2015 school year. S7 is a motion to retroactively approve Edgar Moyer, substitute custodian, at the rate listed therein from February 18th to June 30th, 2015. S8 is a motion to rescind the appointment of Derek Chell as head girls track coach effective February 25th, 2015. And S9 is a motion to approve the first reading of the proposal to allow the Cedar Grove High School AP History, Government, and Politics and Economics classes to participate in a trip to Washington, D.C., as we heard at our last board meeting. May I have a motion for those items, please?
So moved.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Dye,
Yes.
Mr. Mandela,
Aye.
Mrs. Marinelli,
Aye.
and Mr. Sakala.
Yes. May I have a motion for items S10 through S18? S10 is a motion to approve on first reading of the proposal to allow the Cedar Grove High School music exchange trip to Vermont that we heard in a board presentation last meeting. S11 is a motion to approve SD Game Day Athletic Training Services and JAG Therapy as the alternate athletic training services for the 2014-2015 school year. S12 is a motion to approve the dates for the summer 2015 extended year program of June 29th through July 30th, 2015. S13 is a motion to retroactively approve Mr. Derek Chell, 10-month plus 10-day vice principal at the Memorial Middle School for the salary as listed, with a start date of February 23rd, 2015. S4 is a motion to reimburse the school-based volunteers as listed. S15 is a motion to approve the school-based volunteers as listed. S16 is a motion to authorize attendance at the events as listed for the cost as listed in that item. S17 is a motion to approve the leave of absence as listed. And S18 is a motion to approve the following students as listed for classroom observations. May I have a motion for those items, please?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Dye,
Yes.
Mr. Mandela,
Aye.
Mrs. Marinelli,
Aye.
and Mr. Sakala.
Yes. Under policies and regulations, may I have a motion for S19 and S20? S19 is a motion to approve the second reading of the policy updates that were reviewed at the last board meeting, which Mr. Featherman was nice enough to abstract for us and let us know what they are all about. And S20 is a motion to abolish on second reading policy 1522. May I have a motion for those items, please?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke,
Yes.
Mrs. Dye,
Yes.
Mr. Mandela,
Aye.
Mrs. Marinelli,
Aye.
and Mr. Sakala.
Yes. Under contracts, may I have a motion for S21 and S22? S21 is a resolution. It states, whereas on December 9th, 2014, the voters of the Township of Cedar Grove passed a referendum for improvements to the Cedar Grove High School, North End School, and South End School. And whereas the Cedar Grove Board of Education has determined that it needs to retain the services of an architectural firm to provide professional architectural services in connection with the project. Whereas Robert E. Donahue, architect, submitted a proposal to the board dated February 24th, 2015, to provide these services. Whereas after a review of the proposal, the board has determined that it is in the best interest to retain Donahue to perform the services for the project. Whereas in accordance with NJSA 18A:18A-5, the board may contract for the services by resolution at a public meeting without public bidding, as such services constitute professional services in accordance with the terms of the statute. And it be resolved that the school hereby awards a contract for the services for the project to Robert Donahue at the total fee listed therein for the referendum project. S22 is a motion to approve the following contracts as listed for the 2014-2015 school year for special education students as recommended by the Director of Special Services, and they're set forth in that item. May I have a motion for those two items, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I just want to point out that the referendum project and hiring the architect is all part of the referendum funds that were approved by the voters. There's no Board of Education funds that are being used to hire the architect or complete or start the project and complete the project. That's all coming from the referendum. May I have roll call, please?
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes. The meeting is open to the public at this time for comment for items that are either on or off the agenda. Hearing none, I'll close that portion of the meeting. There's an announcement of future meetings. March 10th, 2015, we have a meeting here in the North End Media Center. Executive session is 7 p.m., regular meeting beginning at 8 p.m. And March 24th, here in the North End Media Center, 7 p.m. for executive session, 8 p.m. for regular meeting. Board have any final comments? Hearing none, roll call for, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
And Mr. Sakala?
Yes. Meeting is adjourned.